Yoo-hoo! It's Jess here. Nice to see you again. So today I would like to talk to you about different types of visas and what the requirements are, and I really want to help you figure out what is the best visa for you to apply in order to come to Japan. But before I do that and get into more details, I really want to thank all of you who have been sending me messages, explaining their situations and asking me for advice about working holiday visa in Japan, or in general, like questions about Japan. It really makes my day, and if you have any more questions, please leave them in the comments down below or send me a message on Instagram. My purpose is really to share my experience with you, and if that helps you, it really makes me happy. So thank you for that. In Japan, there are about 30 types of visas, and all of them have different requirements and allow you to do different activities. They all differ from each other, so it is overwhelming and it is difficult to figure out what is the best type of visa because there's just so many. But let me help you break it down a little bit. Japan is quite strict when it comes to providing a work visa for someone. So most likely you won't be able to get a work visa if you just want to do simple labor work, such as working on a construction site or working as a waitress. They want highly skilled professionals or people with high educational academic degrees, etc. There are some loopholes and there are some visa types which will allow you things and jobs without having a bachelor's degree, but in general it is really difficult if you don't have a bachelor's degree or something that counts as a bachelor's degree, which means like 3 years of studying and at least handing in one thesis, I guess. First of all, there are 3 different types of visas. So there is the working visa, the non-working visa, and family and relatives visa. Those are the 3 types or categories you can put those different types of visas in. I think working visa is self-explanatory, like you are here on a work visa, so you have your job and you are going to do that kind of job, right? Non-working visa means, for example, student visa. That could be a student at a university or at a language school. It could be a trainee's visa, or I think there is one which is called technical internship. And of course, the tourist visa also counts into that category. Don't worry, if you come here on a student visa, you can apply for a visa type, like student visa type, that allows you to do part-time jobs, which means you are allowed to work about 20 or 25 hours per week at a convenience store or something like that. Your family-related visa means if you are the spouse of a Japanese national or the child of a Japanese national, but you were born outside of Japan, you can still apply for that visa and enter Japan. I don't know the exact details for that, but it's pretty easy to get, and I think it's not very limited. Like, you're kind of treated as a Japanese national kind of thing. You can do lots of kind of different kinds of jobs and things like that. The other thing is, if you are the spouse or the child of someone who holds the permanent residency in Japan, meaning it's a person who has lived here for a very long time and gained that status, you can also apply for the family or relatives visa. Even if you fulfill requirements of different types of visas, let's say you could fulfill all requirements for a working visa, but you also are married to a Japanese national, which means you are eligible for a family or for a spouse visa. That doesn't mean you can get both visas. You have to decide for one visa. So you're only eligible to hold one type of visa. In order to get a working visa in Japan, you first need a company that works as your visa sponsor. That means if you apply from abroad, you need to find a company that is willing to sponsor you. That means they have to fulfill some requirements as well in order to sponsor someone. And on top of that, they need to do some paperwork for you. But having a sponsor is not the only thing you need. There are lots of other requirements you need to fulfill. As I said, for example, you need a bachelor's degree. Like, let's say you don't hold a bachelor's degree. There are some types of visas that allow you to apply if you have a certain amount of experience. Let's say you are a chef and you've worked between at least 3 or 10 years, something like that, the more the better, in like, let's say, French cuisine, and you specialized in something, and you find a French restaurant here in Japan that is willing to sponsor you, then that could be a possibility for you. But I heard it's not that easy. Another thing you could do is, if you don't have a bachelor's degree, is applying for a business manager visa, but that is really, really difficult and requires a lot of cash, because that means you are going to open your own company in Japan, which is not really easy to do if you are not actually in Japan, because a lot of the paperwork has to be done physically. Like, you have to go and sign papers at the bank, you have to put your hanko, which is a stamp that works like a signature here in Japan. So if you don't have a Japanese partner here, or like a person who lives here, and you open the business with them together, it might be difficult doing all of that if you are still abroad. But I'm sure there are some kind of companies or law firms that specialize in these kind of things, and it can help you open your business here. But it also means you need 5 million yen cash up front, which is about $50,000. One more visa that is not very well known because it is quite new, especially in Tokyo. It was only implemented, I think, 1 month ago or 6 weeks ago. It is the so-called startup visa. Startup visa is for startup companies who don't have the 5 million yen, as I mentioned before, up front. So there are a few requirements you have to fulfill. And one of the requirements is that you have to meet with your supervisor. There is like, you get like a supervisor or like a consultant for like the period of the startup visa, which can be from 6 months up to 18 months, I believe. And within that time, you have to meet that person once a month and show them the improvements you've done, and go over the business plan together, look at the numbers and all these kind of things, and they will help you provide an office space, advice, and lots of other things. That's a great way if you want to open a business here, but you don't have the cash and you don't really know where to start. And they, as I said, they offer free consulting. I will put a link down below. It's really cool. It's really, how should I say, it's really new and fresh, I think. And I think Japan is going into a right direction with that visa. It's not nationwide, it's specific cities that offer this kind of visa. Working holiday visa. Let's look at it a little bit closer. So as of last year, there are 26 countries which can provide you with which are allowed to do a working holiday visa in Japan, which is great. That's a lot of countries. 19 countries on the list of Japan for working holiday visas are from Europe. And last year, in 2020, they added the Netherlands, Estonia, and Sweden. So if you are watching this video and you didn't know about that, you are able to apply for that visa as well. That's great. You can apply for the working holiday visa if you're of the age between 18 and 30. You have to apply for the visa in your local Japanese embassy. I've heard a few people came here in January on working holiday visa, so it keeps changing. So if you are waiting impatiently to get to Japan, just keep checking the website. Don't worry if you are already 30. If you're 30 years old, you can still apply for it. You have to apply for it before you turn 31. That's kind of like the trick. I don't know, at least for Germany that's the case, and I guess that will be the case for every country. My personal advantages for the working holiday visa is that you are basically free to do anything you want work-wise. Like, you can work part-time anywhere, you can work full-time. It is not that specific. Like, I am teaching part-time, but I'm also part-time working at an Irish pub. So you have to be a little bit careful because it specifically says you are not allowed to work in a nightlife kind of setting. But since I work in an Irish pub, which is a beer pub and a restaurant, it is kind of like a gray zone, and it still works, and I don't work past midnight, so it's not night work. My personal thoughts on this topic are that if you don't really know what you want to do in Japan, and if you are not sure if you want to stay in Japan and you fulfill the requirements for a working holiday visa, which is literally just that your country is on the list and that you are between the age of 18 and 30, go for it, do it. The advantage you have is you are already here. You can go directly to job interviews. There's a big advantage to everyone who applies from overseas. You can show your face. You can even show them that you've been living here, that you've learned a little bit of language, for example, or that you've been working here. You kind of know Japan already and you know how things work, and that is worth a lot. A lot of people offered to work as interns and then they were eventually hired and sponsored. I mean, that's great. You can't do that if you are living wherever you are living. Okay, thanks everyone so much, and yeah, if you have any questions, put them in the comments down below. I will try to reply with the best knowledge I have. And yeah, see you guys later. Johnny.